The secret she'll never say aloud. What if I told you she still thinks about you, but will never send that message? She lingers in the shadows of your digital world, scrolling through your photos, rereading old conversations, and typing out messages she'll delete before ever hitting send. Her silence isn't absence, it's a calculated mask. The war inside her mind. You believe she's moved on, don't you? That her silence means she's forgotten. But silence is deceiving. Behind that quiet exterior is a storm of conflicting emotions. Longing tangled with fear, regret fighting against pride. She's caught in a battle you can't see, and it's tearing her apart. The power of your inaction. She thought you'd break. She thought you'd reach out first. But the longer you stay silent, the more unpredictable, untouchable you become, the more the power shifts. The one who once held your heart now trembles at the thought that she no longer holds your attention. What if I told you she still thinks about you, but she'll never reach out? She's watching you silently from the shadows, checking your stories, scrolling your profile, staring at your name in her messages. Sometimes her fingers type something, a sentence, a word, a feeling. And just like that, it vanishes, deleted, again and again. But will she ever actually send that text? No. And here's why. Because the mind is a battlefield, a war zone where emotions collide with ego, where desire and pride clash in silence. And right now she's caught in that very war. She remembers you. She wonders about you. She aches to know what you're thinking. But every time she edges toward reaching out, something stronger pulls her back. Pride, fear, uncertainty, and the haunting question, what if he's already moved on? Because to reach out means to risk her ego, to open a door that may already be closed, to confront the possibility that you become a man who no longer needs her validation. And that terrifies her. Here's the truth most people don't admit. It's easier to suffer in silence than to admit you were wrong. She doesn't want to be the first to fold, to seem desperate, to look weak. So instead, she waits, watches, hopes you'll break first. Because the second you do, the second you cave and send that message, you surrender your power. You confirm that she still holds emotional leverage over you. And once again, she becomes the one in control. So here you are, questioning yourself. Should I text her? Should I check in? Should I give her a sign? No, don't. Because the moment you do, you become predictable. You become accessible, a memory she can return to anytime she wants without earning it. But when you stay silent, when you resist the urge to chase, when you hold your ground, that's when the real shift begins. That's when her mind begins to spiral. Did I misjudge him? Is he really over me? Was he ever even mine? And that shift, it doesn't come from angry words or emotional outbursts. It doesn't come from trying to prove your worth. It comes from your silence. Because silence is not empty. It's full of meaning. The greatest power in attraction is control. Control over your emotions. Control over your reactions. Control over your presence. And when you master that, you become untouchable. She feels it. She senses it. And suddenly the roles reverse. She becomes the one who's uncertain. She becomes the one wondering what happened. She becomes haunted by the thought that you've moved on and never looked back. So ask yourself this. Are you ready to stop chasing ghosts? Are you done surrendering your power for fleeting validation? Are you finally ready to lead with control instead of emotion? If so, take the first step. Like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and drop a comment below. I control my emotions, not her. Now let's begin. Number 1, the reality of her silence. You think she doesn't care, that she moved on effortlessly, that while you've been rebuilding your heart, she's been thriving. But let me tell you something. Her silence is not indifference. It's strategy. She's not reaching out because she doesn't have to. She's betting on time. She's betting that you'll break before she does, because she knows how this game usually ends. She knows that most men eventually fold. Number 2, why chasing only pushes her further away. Remember this. Silence unsettles her because she can't control it. She can't handle not knowing what you're thinking. She can't stand the emptiness that lingers after a broken connection. And that, more than anything, is why she stays silent. Because emotions are powerful. And in this silent standoff, the one who feels more loses more. The one who reaches out first surrenders the upper hand. So she waits, she watches, she lets time do the work. confident, maybe even smug, that eventually your emotions will betray you, that sooner or later you'll crave her presence so intensely you'll break the silence. And when you do, she wins. Because the moment you send that message, the moment you ask how she's doing, the moment you try to revive something that's already gone, you confirm everything she hoped, that she still lives in your mind, that she still holds emotional power over you, that she doesn't have to reach out because she knows you always will. But what happens when you don't? When you don't send the message? When you don't check her profile? When you don't give her even a hint that you're waiting? That's when doubt starts creeping in. At first, she might think you're just being stubborn, but as the days stretch into weeks, her confidence starts to shake. Why hasn't he reached out? Did he move on? Did he realize he deserves better? That's when the shift begins. Not through confrontation, not through arguments, but through silence that screams louder than words ever could. Suddenly, she's no longer in control. Suddenly, she's the one wondering. Suddenly, the absence you left behind starts to haunt her. But this only works if you commit to it. If you resist the urge to break. If you let her sit in her own silence. If you stand firm while she's waiting for the moment you act like every other man who chased her validation. Become the exception. Be the man who doesn't crumble under emotional pressure. Because true strength doesn't shout. It doesn't beg. It doesn't chase. True strength is silent, composed, unshaken. And when you master that, she will feel it. So if you're done playing someone else's game, if you're ready to reclaim your power, like the video, subscribe and comment below. My silence is my power. Let's move on. Number 3, why chasing only pushes her further away. You think that if you just explain yourself, if you just remind her of the good times, she'll finally realize what she lost. She'll see the light and come back to you. Nope, that's not how this works. Because the more you chase, the less she values you. The harder you try to pull her back, the faster she runs. Desperation is repulsive. It doesn't say, I love you. It screams, I need your approval to feel whole. It tells her that you don't see yourself as the prize. You've placed her on a pedestal. You've made her the goal. And the second she senses that, the moment she realizes she's the one being pursued while you're the one begging, she loses respect. Because that's human nature. We don't value what's always available. We don't crave what comes too easily. We chase what feels just out of reach. And right now, whether you know it or not, you're teaching her how to treat you. Every time you double text, every time you revisit old memories, every time you reach out first, you're reinforcing one dangerous message. You are an option, not a priority. You may think you're fighting for love, that you're being persistent, but really, you're eliminating the mystery. You're killing the challenge. You're smothering the attraction. Because certainty kills desire. Think about it. Have you ever watched a movie where you already knew the ending? Was it exciting? Was it captivating? Or did it feel predictable, forgettable? Now ask yourself this. Are you being that predictable movie in her eyes? Because if you are, it's time to turn the page. The chase doesn't win her back. Silence, strength, and self-respect do. And those only happen when you stop chasing. Number 4, when silence creates uncertainty. Remember what we said before, chasing kills attraction. So what happens when you stop chasing? What happens when you completely disappear from her world? That's when something powerful begins. Her own mind turns against her. You see, when you vanish, no messages, no reactions, no attention, her brain starts to spiral. Where is he? Why hasn't he reached out? Did I misjudge him? She was so sure you'd come back, so certain that you'd fold like every other man before you. But now, there's no sign of you. No call, no text, no social media peaks, just silence. And that silence, it creates space. And that space, it creates doubt. Suddenly, she no longer feels secure. Suddenly, she's not sure if you're still thinking about her. She no longer has the comfort of being the one in control, because now she's the one sitting with discomfort. She's the one overthinking. She's the one facing the unknown. And here's the truth. Uncertainty triggers action. No one forgets someone who is truly valuable. If she lets you go, it's because she didn't see your worth in that moment. That's the harsh truth. But what do you do with it? Do you try to prove your worth to her? Do you beg her to recognize your value? No. You increase your value for yourself. You rebuild. You rise. You become the kind of man she regrets losing, not because you chased her, but because you didn't. But here's the catch. None of this works if you don't commit. If you break the silence, if you try to sneak back into her world looking for scraps of attention, you have to let her feel it. Let her feel the sting of your absence. Let her sit in the void she created. Let her wonder. Let her question. Let her reach the place where she's no longer sure she made the right decision. Because when you become the exception, the man who doesn't chase, the man who doesn't need validation, the man who doesn't react like all the others, that's when the power shifts. Because real strength isn't loud. It's not dramatic. It's not reactive. Real strength is silent, intentional, unshakable, and she will feel it, whether she ever admits it or not. So if you're done playing the fool in someone else's game, if you're done begging for scraps of attention, if you're ready to become the one she can't forget, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment below. I do not chase, I attract. Let's keep going. Number 5, emotional mastery. Why she's drawn to a man in control. Have you ever noticed something strange? The men who care the least, the ones who don't overreact, who don't beg, who don't spiral when things go, they always seem to hold the most power. Why? Because they move differently, because they are in control. This isn't about luck. It's not about being cold-hearted. It's about discipline. Because the man who controls his emotions controls the entire situation. The man who doesn't chase out of fear, who doesn't text from loneliness, who doesn't act out of desperation, becomes untouchable. Because women don't respect emotional instability. They don't crave men who need constant reassurance. They don't want to be your emotional oxygen. They want to feel drawn to your strength, to your stillness, to your unshakable calm. And if she walked away, it wasn't because she stopped loving you. It's because she stopped feeling magnetized by you. She stopped feeling safe in your presence. She saw the emotional neediness, the fear of abandonment, the constant validation seeking, and that fear, it suffocated her. Because deep down, attraction is biological. Women are wired to gravitate toward strength, toward presence, toward stability, not toward panic, not toward pleading, not toward emotional chaos. So what do now? You become the opposite of what drove her away. You stop chasing, you stop reacting, you stop needing, and you start becoming. Because the moment you show her that you can take a hit and keep walking, the moment you show her that you can lose her and not lose yourself, that's when the power returns. You become the calm in her storm, the grounded presence she never appreciated until it was gone. So keep walking, keep building, keep rising. And remember, your emotions are not the enemy, but your lack of control over them, that's what destroys your value. Master yourself, and everything else will follow. Number 6, reclaiming control. Why desperation destroys value. Let's pick up where we left off. Mastering your emotions gives you the upper hand. But what happens when you don't? When instead of standing tall, you crumble under pressure? You sit there, overthinking, obsessing, replaying every conversation you had with her in your head like a broken record. Stop. Every second you spend drowning in emotion is a second you lose control. And every moment you lose control, you lose the very thing that makes you attractive. You must become the calm within the storm, the kind of man who doesn't need to force anything to happen, the kind of man who understands that true strength is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted in self-worth. Because when you believe at your core that you are the prize, everything shifts. And the best part, she will feel it. Whether you ever speak to her again or not, whether she's across the city or across the world, she will feel that shift in you. She'll feel the moment you stop needing her, and that feeling, it terrifies her, because for the first time, she realizes you don't need her, and in that moment, you become powerful. So if you're ready to reclaim control, if you're done letting your emotions weaken you, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment below. I master my emotions. They do not master me. Let's go further. Number 7, the power of mystery. How to make her wonder. Predictability kills attraction. Mystery fuels it. Right now, she thinks she knows everything about you. She thinks she knows how you feel, what you're thinking, what you'll do next. And that certainty, that's what's keeping her comfortable. That's why she hasn't reached out. But what happens when you stop being predictable? What happens when you stop posting about your emotions? When you stop watching her stories? When you stop reacting the way she expects? Suddenly, uncertainty creeps in. Why hasn't he reached out? Is he seeing someone new? Is he happier without me? That doubt begins to swirl. And where there's doubt, there's curiosity. Where there's curiosity, there's reflection. And that's when she starts to question everything. Here's a truth most men overlook. People value what they can't fully understand. The second you become unrateable, you stop being a finished story. You become a puzzle, and she wants to solve it. But this only works if you don't just disappear. You transform. You become a man she no longer has access to. Not just physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically. She should never know what you're thinking. She should never be certain how you feel. She should never be able to guess whether you still want her. Because once she knows, the mystery dies. And when the mystery dies, the attraction fades. So stop giving her a front row seat to your life. Stop making it easy for her to track your every move. Let her wonder. Let her doubt. Let her feel the distance. Because when she does, that's when she starts to miss you. That's when regret begins to settle in. That's when she realizes she might have lost you for good. If you're ready to stop being predictable, if you're ready to become the man she can't read, can't reach, and can't forget, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment below. I am the mystery she will never solve. Let's move on. Number 8, rebuilding your value, the art of self-improvement. You want her to regret leaving? You want the power to shift entirely? Then stop thinking about her. Stop monitoring her moves and start rebuilding you. Because here's what she's really watching. Your actions, not your words, not your subtle hints, not your emotional posts. She's watching to see if you crumble without her or if you rise without her. Right now, you're at a crossroads. Two paths lie ahead. One leads to obsession, endless overanalyzing, waiting, and hoping. The other leads to evolution, building, growing, and becoming. Which one will you choose? Number 8, rebuilding your value, the art of self-improvement. You want her to regret leaving? You want the power to shift entirely back into your hands? Then stop waiting for a sign and start becoming the man who no longer needs one. Because here's what really triggers regret. Not your pain, not your longing, but your progress. Regret doesn't come from seeing you suffer. Regret comes when she sees you thrive. When she sees your confidence rising, your body getting stronger, your lifestyle evolving, that's when it hits. That's when she realizes she no longer has access to the man you've become. But here's where most men mess it all up. They evolve for her. They post for her. They try to look successful, not to build themselves, but to prove a point. And that's not true growth. You don't transform to prove her wrong. You transform because you're finally becoming the man she could never replace. So ask yourself right now, are you still stuck in the past, replaying old memories, rereading old messages? Or are you in the gym, rebuilding your strength? Are you scrolling through her social media hoping for a signal? Or are you working on your finances, your goals, your future? Are you begging for validation? Or are you crafting a life so full, so powerful, so grounded in your own mission that her absence barely registers anymore? Here's the truth. The best revenge isn't loud. It isn't emotional. It isn't even personal. The best revenge is success. When she finally sees it, she'll realize something far too late. The man she left behind, he doesn't exist anymore. He's been replaced by a version of you she never expected, a version she can't reach, a version she doesn't deserve. If you're ready to evolve into your highest form, if you're finished living in the past, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment below. I do not look back, I level up. Let's go deeper. Number 9, the psychological trigger, how to make her regret losing you. You want to know the exact moment she regrets walking away? It's not when you text her. It's not when you try to prove your worth. It's when she realizes deep in her gut that she no longer has power over you. Here's a truth that few men accept. People don't regret losing someone who still wants them. They regret losing someone who moved on without them. Right now, she assumes you're still thinking about her, still hoping, still watching. And that illusion, it gives her comfort. It keeps her in control. But when you shift, when you truly let go, mentally, emotionally, energetically, when she senses that you've cut the cord, that's when the panic starts. Because suddenly she's not rejecting you anymore. You're rejecting her. And that subtle reversal, it hits harder than any angry message or emotional plea. She begins to notice the way you don't engage, the way you don't check in, the way your energy no longer leans toward her. And suddenly, the power is gone. Her ego starts to question everything. Did I misjudge him? Was he more valuable than I realized? Because the human mind can't stand uncertainty. It hates not knowing. It needs answers. So she starts digging. She checks your stories. She asks mutual friends. She maybe even sends a casual message. But by that point, you won't need a response because you'll be too far gone, too focused, too grounded. You'll have become the man she never thought you could be. So forget revenge. Forget trying to force regret. Just disappear. Elevate. Transform into someone she can never reach again. That's how you make her regret losing you. Not by trying to win her back, but by becoming the man who no longer looks back. Number 10. The final test. If you still care, you haven't let go. We just uncovered the real moment regret begins, when your energy shifts. Now it's time to confront the most difficult truth of all. The final test isn't about her. It's about you. Let's be brutally honest. Right now, deep down, you're still wondering, will she reach out? You're still hoping that maybe one day she'll realize what she lost. And that hope, that lingering desire, that's the final test. Because the truth is this, if you still care whether she regrets losing you, you haven't really moved on. Real detachment doesn't come from pretending. It's not faking strength. It's not acting cold. It's waking up one morning and feeling absolutely nothing. No pain, no anger, no curiosity, just calm, grounded indifference. She's not your fantasy anymore. She's just another person, another chapter, another name. But here's where most men slip. They follow all the right steps. They go silent. They hit the gym. They chase purpose. But inside, they're still waiting, still watching, still hoping. And hope, that innocent sounding word, is actually a chain. Hope keeps you stuck. Hope is still attachment, and attachment is the root of suffering. Yes, she might be watching you. Yes, she might even regret. But none of that matters anymore. Not if you've really let go. Because true freedom isn't when she regrets. It's when you stop needing her to. When you stop needing closure. When you stop needing an explanation. When you stop waiting for a text that never comes. That's when you become unapologetically free. And ironically, that's the exact moment she feels it. She senses it in your energy, in your silence, in the way you don't orbit her anymore. And that's what shakes her to the core. Because now, you're not being rejected. You're rejecting her. So ask yourself, are you really free? Or are you just pretending? If you're still checking her page, still looking for signs, still wondering what she thinks, then you're not free yet. You're still trapped in a prison of your own making. And the only key is letting go completely. If you're truly done holding on to the past, if you're done chasing ghosts, hit that like button. Subscribe and comment below. I release what no longer serves me. Let's continue. Number 11, why she's watching but won't reach out. Here's the part that drives most men crazy. You don't see her. You haven't heard from her. But you feel it. She's watching. And she is. Checking your stories. Lurking your posts. Reading old messages. So why doesn't she say anything? Why doesn't she reach out? Because reaching out would mean facing the truth. It would mean risking her ego. It would mean admitting out loud that she's no longer in control. Right now, she's playing a silent game, a calculated strategy. She wants to see if you're still the same man she walked away from. Are you still waiting? Still hurting? Still hoping? Because if you are, then she still has power. She can still rest easy, still feel wanted without doing a thing. But when you stop giving her clues, when you go quiet, when you stop posting emotional content, when your energy disappears from her world, she feels it. And not just through what you say. It's what you don't say. It's the absence of your attention, the void where your validation used to be. That's what haunts her. That's what makes her think. That's what creates the panic. Because suddenly, she no longer has access, not just to your time, but to your mind, to your peace, to your presence. She's losing access to the version of you that once made her feel powerful, and she knows it. But it's already too late, because the man she once knew, he's gone. And in his place stands someone new, someone stronger, someone she can no longer reach. And that's what real power feels like. Number 12, her silence isn't strength, it's fear. We just revealed the truth behind why she watches from a distance, but can't bring herself to reach out. Now let's take it a step further, because if you're feeling her absence, she's feeling your evolution. She's not reaching out. Not because she's moved on, not because she's indifferent, but because she's afraid. Afraid that the man she once put on a pedestal is now out of reach. You see, she's watching for a reason. Not because she's planning a return, but because she wants to know, can I still reach him? Is he still mine in some way? Is the door still open? But when she realizes it's not, when she sees you've pulled away, grown, and no longer look back, that's when panic sets in, because now she has to confront something terrifying. You were the one who got away. And that silence she's keeping, it's not power, it's fear. Fear that she let go of someone irreplaceable. Fear that she underestimated you. That fear that you've become the man she never thought you could be. So no, she won't message you. Not because she doesn't want to, but because her ego won't let her. And if she ever does, it won't be because of love. It'll be a test, a probe, a desperate check to see if she still has control. And if that message ever comes, you won't even flinch. Because by then, her presence won't matter. You'll be so far beyond needing her, the message will feel like it's from a stranger. If you're done waiting for ghosts, if you're finished needing validation, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment below. Her silence is not my problem. Let's move forward. Number 13, the ultimate Stoic mindset. You were always the prize. This is where everything shifts. The energy, the story, the power. Because if you've made it this far, there's one truth left to own. She was never the prize. You were. Ask yourself this. Why was I chasing her in the first place? Why did her opinion carry so much weight? Why did her silence shake my confidence? Because somewhere along the line, you forgot your own worth. You placed her above you. And the moment you did that, you gave away all your power. But not anymore. Not now. Because a Stoic man doesn't derive his value from anyone else. Not from a woman. Not from attention. Not from social approval. His worth is internal, absolute, untouchable. And once you internalize that, everything changes. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You stop clinging to people who don't see your value. You walk away without flinching. You detach without hesitation. You build without apology. And that's when the tables turn. She can't manipulate you anymore. She can't push your buttons. She can't figure out why her absence doesn't shake you. Because now, you're unshakable. You've become the man she never thought you could be. The man who doesn't need her. The man who doesn't flinch. The man who she starts chasing. Because people don't pursue what's desperate. They pursue what's scarce, what's powerful, what they can't have. But here's the twist. By the time she realizes it, it won't even matter. Because once you've embraced the Stoic mindset, once your life becomes too strong to be shaken by anyone's presence or absence, you'll look back and realize it was never about her. It was always about you, your growth, your worth, your direction. So if you're ready to live with that kind of power, if you're done idolizing anyone who couldn't see your value, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment below. I am the prize. And remember, a Stoic man doesn't chase. He attracts. He doesn't beg. He builds. He doesn't wait. He moves forward. Stay grounded, stay focused, and never forget your worth. Because at the end of the day, it's not about who left. It's about who you chose to become after they did.